Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Cool People, Big Ideas. Today, I get to interview my mentor, my dear friend, my fairy godmother, Donna Eden. I can't really say enough about her, so I just won't spend this whole intro quelling about how amazing she is. If you don't know her, you've got to find her work. She is one of the most impactful and powerful healers, teachers, leaders, thought leaders, writers of our generation. She is a true master, and she's also a very warm and personable and lovely human being. And today we are talking about some crazy, powerful subjects, specifically death and the afterlife. I know that you all have as many questions about that as I do. And so sit back, relax, and get ready to take in a powerful view, an experiential view of what happens after we die. I think you're going to just love this podcast. I enjoyed it so much. I'm already plotting and planning for when I can get her back on to ask all the questions that came up for me after the podcast was over. Leave us a note in the notes and let us know if you have more questions, and we'll try to get Donna back on here again, because this is one powerful lady. Enjoy. Welcome to the world of energy, where science meets spirit. Ancient wisdom merges with cutting-edge knowledge, and the possibilities for a healthier, happier you are endless. I'm so happy that we are going to get to have this conversation. It is just...
Me too.
I've had so many questions spinning through my mind, and I want to start this interview with not one of my own questions, but a question that Julia Louis-Dreyfus asks at the start of her podcast. She has a podcast called Wiser Than Me, where she interviews older women who are wiser and who get overlooked so often in our culture that venerates youth. And even these very famous women, once they pass a certain age, are no longer considered part of the conversation. And so I'm going to start with the question that she asks all of her guests. And are you okay if I ask you your age?
Oh, sure. I'm 82.
You're 82. And how old do you feel?
Easy. Let's see. 29. I feel really good. I'd like to speak a little bit about age. Could I, before we go on?
No, please jump in.
I think it's really something. I think all that will change, by the way. I think the future will not overlook older women, because women start catching on that, oh my God, this is my best part of my life. This is the best. You know, if they really have done the work on themselves and all that sort of stuff, there is something glorious and amazing that comes over you as you get older. And I love this age. I love this age. I'm at peace. When I was younger and I would have people say, oh, I just want to be happy like you, they'd say to me. But I'd think to myself, I'm happy and I've got joy, but I want more peace. And peace is there now. Just utter peace. And it makes life so easy. You can just float along with whatever is going on. And yeah, it's just really good.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think peace took so long to come for you?
It's because as a kinesthetic, peace started creeping up further and further and further. But I was working so much that the things I wanted to have peace in, I didn't get to have, because there was no time left over in my day. First of all, I hurt that everybody wasn't happy. I really hurt for them. And so I'm I want everybody to have a good life. And I could take it on. And now it's so clear to me that everybody has their journey, and that whatever they're in, it's their journey. And I can't be so selfish as to take their journey away. Yeah, it's really interesting. It's a good place to be. I really love it.
I love that what you just said, to be selfish to take their journey away. Even the
Yeah,
difficult parts is part of people's journey, and that
absolutely,
needs to stay.
absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what you learn and what you grow through and what you adapt to or change about, all of those things is theirs and not it isn't mine to do.
That's beautiful. That's the way to peace, right? That's the way to peace. So you you're 82 and you feel young, and I want to go back to some of the health challenges that you've just had recently. So you had
Yes.
open heart surgery, and I was with you, as were many other people, at this huge event that you were hosting and headlining, your school, your company, this Energy Fest. And you were not really doing well at that time. And then in the middle of the festival, you actually had to leave and go into the hospital and were there for a long time. And then you had open heart surgery.
Yeah.
So, and then
Yes.
you had a long healing after that, and now you feel amazing. So, can you talk to us a little bit about like what that felt like to be in the hospital, to be knowing you were going to have this heart surgery? Were you afraid?
Yeah.
Did you have fears of your own death or anything like that?
No, I was sure I wouldn't die. I wasn't afraid that maybe I would. There was just honestly, it was like an adventure. There is something new, and I'm not somebody who's gone much to doctors or hospitals. So it was an adventure, and we found the best doctors. It was absolutely, clearly supposed to be there, and I think he wanted to make sure that I knew that there was nothing to be afraid of, because he said, "I don't kill people. I never kill people." I love that he said that. It's very cute. But I wasn't afraid. It was an adventure and it was exciting. And when I went under, I really did. I believe I was traveling through the universe on a banana, is what I thought. I was just riding atop a banana, and I went everywhere through the universe, and it was exciting. And yeah, it was quite amazing to me, that whole experience. I I just thought of it as an adventure.
That's incredible. That's incredible. That's incredible. And so you remember the time when you were under anesthesia, when you were riding through the universe, you remember that.
Yes,
Wow.
I do.
Wow.
I do. I don't know that it was really a banana,
Sure.
but whatever else.
So I know that you're planning to do some teaching around what you learned in that journey, because you talked not long after about the heart and what you learned and working with your daughter Titania.
Yes.
Can you share just a teeny bit of what you learned? I mean, you've been studying energy medicine your whole life, and then here is something new for you.
Yeah.
Can you share that a little?
Yeah, it was thrilling. It may not even sound so new. It became so clear to me. It's just what we all say and know, that everything is connected to everything else. So it wasn't just about the heart. Your whole being is taken into this. And what I was so aware of is that every other part of my body was working hard to pull me through. And that was amazing, that I saw all organs, all cells as individual beings, and that had consciousness and heart and soul, and they were all working to pull me through. And that was an amazing thing. I felt like I could talk to my cells, and I could, it's everything. Everything was that way. And that was thrilling. I also found, let's see, I think a minute what I could feel right in front of the heart chakra, is the assemblage point. Right beyond the heart chakra is, I'll just say it for everybody. The assemblage point is not a point at all. It's like I don't know, a sphere, but and it comes so the chakra comes out to about there, and then right beyond that is something called your assemblage point, and it assembles together everything you feel in your heart, your soul, the values you have, the things handed down to you, what you know to be true, everything. It assembles it all out there. And I was so conscious of the whole time of my assemblage point, of how everything I'd gone through, how do I say it? Everything I had gone through was not just represented here, but it was glad it had gone through it. Glad it had gone through it because I moved to another space in my life, and your values deepen. Your values deepen, your love deepens, your spirit gets bigger, and it feels like your beingness encompasses the world. That's what it feels like.
Wow. And you felt all that while you were in the hospital, all these people working on you and saving you and helping you.
Yes. Yes. There's another thing out beyond your assemblage point is a diamond inlay. And a diamond inlay, I call it a diamond inlay because like a diamond you can inlay into a ring or something. This energy can be laid into different places in your sphere or in your body. And this diamond inlay takes who you are, your soul, your spirit, and it communicates it out way past you and into the universe so that you feel very connected in everything in the universe.
Okay. You gave me my opening. I didn't think it was going to come this soon, but here we go. We're going to go with it because,
okay.
So you talked about the assemblage point and the diamond inlay and your soul and how it brings it out to all points of the universe. So my questions for you, I just want to kind of open this up to talk about. You've written quite a lot about it. I just reread the epilogue in your book in your first book before we got on this interview. You've written a lot about, some people call them entities, spirits, guides, people that have come back to you from the beyond and communicated to you through you to people on your table. Again, things that are inexplicable. There's no way that you could have known X, Y, or Z if it wasn't coming from this source. And so I wonder, and you know that you wrote that book quite some time ago, and we can talk about Balishim if you want to. I think I'm saying his name right.
Yes,
is that it?
Right.
Is that it? Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
So, but I want to talk about what do you think? What do you believe? What has your lived experience been with a post-life experience? What is the afterlife? Do you think that there is an afterlife? What is your experience with what happens after we die?
Oh my gosh, yes. I have no doubts that there's an afterlife. I think our life just goes on, but without our body. And I think you learn in the afterlife just like you learn here. But and maybe being in the physical body is the hardest of all to learn. But when you're free of your body, your consciousness can take leaps and bounds, and your heart can glow in new ways. And I think it's going to be splendid and wonderful. And yeah, it's just quite amazing. And I've had different people come back after they've died. And I remember my mother, it was a whole year after she had died. I was driving into Florida and I suddenly saw her in front of my windshield. And she looked much younger than when she died. She looked much younger and pretty and had a lot of energy. And she said, "Oh, Donna, it's so much easier here." It's just so easy. I've been an entire lifetime with my parents. this last year. Now, her mother had died when she just on her 4th birthday. So she didn't know her mom. And her dad didn't die till she was 16, but he was gone because she had to be put into an orphanage. And so she said, and what she longed for in life was she would have just wished she knew her parents. And she said, it's been so wonderful. And it was so much easier than if we'd all been in our body doing nothing. But it's been the best year of my life, she said. This has been the best year of my life. And I said, and she said, so now I'm going to go and find your daddy.
Oh.
But I've had different people come, and it's been really sweet. It was so good. And no one I have ever known who've come to me after they've died was sorry that they died. That was, not a soul has been sorry they died.
Interesting.
When I was in my 30s, I had a professor who I adored and loved, and suddenly he was in an automobile accident, and he was killed, and I was beside myself. I couldn't imagine how the world could go on without him. That's how great a human being he was, and it didn't seem right for the world. And one night I was crying myself to sleep, and I felt an energy, and I sat up, and he was sitting at the end of my bed, and he said, "Oh, Donna, I really needed this rest." That's all he said.
Wow.
So things like that have happened to me quite a bit.
Are you able to reach out? Like, can you talk to your mom whenever you want to and she comes back? Like, how does that work for you in a body, talking to people passed beyond?
Usually if I'm just cruising along in my car or walking along in the country, I can feel my mom and I can talk to her, and it's very easy. If I'm in a busy life, I have to wait until I've sort of calmed down, and usually she comes through to me. But what has been interesting is that David, is my husband. When I was calling my mother, his mother has come through a few times, and that's been interesting.
Wow.
And but yes, usually I can talk to my mom most any time I want.
And so I just want to clarify, because some people are going to be listening to this and they'll say, well, she loves her mom. And so she sits down and she says, come on, mom. And then her mom just says something that it's really her, but she just feels like it's her mom because they're really close. But you've had experiences where you're getting information, it's not coming from inside of you. So is there a way that you know that is your mom herself, as opposed to your kind of, like sometimes we'll talk to plants and they'll talk back. But maybe it is the plant, but maybe it's really more like you're putting the voice. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yes. I can only say that this has nothing to do with my personality, my need, my wanting something from her. I never go to her with wanting something. I just want to sit and be with her. And then she will start talking. And one of the things in the beginning, I thought, yeah, but my mother had an idiosyncrasy that isn't here now. And she spoke to that. I was thinking that to myself, but she spoke to it. She said, well, Donna, with a body, I of course I had that with a body, because you're just trying to survive and deal with all of life. But when you don't have a body, you don't need that anymore. That quirk that you had, you don't need it anymore.
So you write about this, and I don't remember. I don't know if I was alive. When did you write? When did you write Energy Medicine? I've got the old copy. The original.
It was published in 98. It was published in 98.
In 98. Okay. Let's round it up. Say 30 years ago is when the germ of the book started, and all of that. So
yes.
You write about Balishim. And for those of you, if you have not read this book and you're listening to this podcast, just turn it off, go buy the book right now. And if you're a woman, go buy Energy Medicine for Women. And what I say to people all the time, people in my world that have lost someone, that are in grief, especially if they're in active grief, like they've just lost someone very close to them and they're devastated. And I say, go and get this book and read the epilogue, because it will change how you feel about who you've just lost. So Balashim is a gentleman in your life that an entity or a persona that came through to give you information about a client on the table.
Yes.
When did that first start to happen, that somebody was giving you information about someone on the table? And did you did you like believe it right away, or were you like, what's going on here? Like, what was your experience with you're getting messages from the beyond?
Well, I never knew that people had any difficulty with that idea. I just assumed everybody did. So it never occurred to me that this was a problematic thing. Now, when I first started my practice, for instance, and I was new to doing it on anybody but myself or my kids, I sometimes would get to a point, maybe they had something going on in their body, and I thought, whoa, what do I do? And so I'd be still, I'd get really still, and the answers would start coming. But sometimes I would see somebody who would tell me. And I guess I remember I had a 16-year-old girl once who was on my table, and she'd been in and out of the hospital she had such terrible pains in her abdomen. They were trying to find out what it was. And suddenly, I was doing everything I could, and she was saying, oh, I'm feeling better. But I thought, wow, I wonder what the source is, so I can't get to the source. And whenever I didn't know, if I'd be quiet and step aside, the answer would come. And I saw this man as clear as anything I'd ever seen. A man came forth, and he said he was her grandpa, and they'd never met, but he'd been following her all of her life. And he said what it was. And it was that these were his. This was what he had when he died. He had these terrible pains in his abdomen, and she was in her mother's stomach, and she was in that room, and she had so much sympathy and wanting to take it, and that's what happened. And that day she never had any more pains.
Wow. Okay, so now what I'm thinking is, I got to imagine all our listeners are thinking, I'm just like, okay, I'm looking around, grandma, grandpa, daddy, like all of these people. So everyone's going to want to know, how do we do it? How do we talk to those people that have gone beyond?
Wow. Now, I'm going to try to answer as me when I never knew you couldn't. So it's maybe a little different. I do know, though, that I've taught, that isn't the right word, but I've helped people to be able to speak to somebody. And when they've been on my table, when I had a practice, and it's always, you have to let all thoughts go. Whatever are you thinking about it? You're just going to take a few deep breaths into your nose and then out to your mouth. I like to do it from way back in my throat. And do that a few times until you don't want to breathe anymore. And just be still. Just be as still as you possibly can. And I've had people say that something came or somebody came. And that usually was the way, instead of them calling on somebody. It was when they became just accepting of whatever was going to come. And then they would be the ones who would often get it. I will speak of Balishim for a minute, okay?
Please, and share more of the story. Share a little backstory with everybody if they haven't read the book yet.
Okay. Well, I had a client who was also a friend of mine, a sort of friend, more than a client, though. And she was a very strong Catholic. And she did not believe that she on her own could have any kind of connection, that she believed she went to the priest. She always went and confessed and all of these things. And, but she had a really bad shoulder and arm because she had polio when she was a girl. And over the years, she just got better and better. But now that she was getting much older, it hurt so bad as if she had polio again. And she wanted it gone, but she wanted to know, is that what it is or what is it? And no doctor could find it. But she couldn't lift her arm at all. She couldn't do anything. Couldn't lift her shoulder. And it went all the way down to the side of her body, maybe to the bottom of her rib. And so she had come for a session, and I suddenly saw in the corner somebody who looked like Yul Brynner in The King and I. Did you ever see that movie, The King and I? Yul Brynner, that's what he looked like to me. And he said, I am Balishim. Stand at her shoulders. And I went and I stood at her shoulders, and I know he stepped into me. Somebody stepped into me, and my arms went really underneath her, top of her back, and I just held it there. And she began to seize. She had a seizure, and she went all over the table until she was on the floor. And I panicked. You know, she was older than 82, whatever her age was. I don't know, but I ran over to her, and I think she was crying, but I thought she was crying because she was hurt, and she was crying because this amazing thing had happened. And she said, "Look," and she lifted her shoulder and her arm, and there's no pain, and I can do it, and it's easy. And she said, and then she got mad though. She said, "Why didn't he come to me and not just? Why did he come to you? It's me. He was going to help." Why? And she was really mad, and I said, "I don't know." But I heard from Balishim that because she has never believed, she had never believed that that could ever happen to her. So she said, "Oh," he said, "I've been trying to reach," her name was Edie. "I have been trying to reach Edie all her life." That is something to pay attention to. I've had that happen with other people, that I heard that, gosh, this being was trying to reach them all this time, but had no way to touch them or tap in or so. But then he said something interesting. He said, "But now it's imperative that she knows. She must know of me." And so then anyway, the session ended, and it was about a month later. And I didn't know what it meant that he said it was imperative, but gosh, I can't remember all the details, but her son killed himself, and she was devastated, absolutely devastated. And Balishim came to her. She was open, and he came to her, and he said he was so tired. He'd been addicted since he was about 14 years old, and he just didn't want to do it anymore. And he was so sure life would be fine on the other side, and it is. And Balishim told her this. And then a little bit later, her son actually came to her. So she had never had anything like that in her 85 years or something. And so there's something that switches, and it isn't a thought process, but something happens in the energy, a consciousness, but it can just be in your energy where you're totally and utterly receptive to whatever is. Yeah. You know, my husband is, and you know him, a friend, but he is what I would call a digital metal. And a digital metal is somebody who lives up in his head. And he also likes rules and form, but he also wants to save the world. And he's quite beautiful, but he's never had anything like this happen until, boy, just these last few years, something has shifted. And like this morning, he popped out of bed. He said, "Where are you going?" "I'm going. My team is waiting for me upstairs." And he had a couple of people who really feed him when he is on a project, a writing project. They feed him with better ideas and how to say it better. And he just goes up and he listens. And that's the man who lives in his head, and it's happened for him. So,
wow. That's amazing. So there's hope. There's hope for all of us. If David Feinstein can find that, this right, then there's hope for all of us.
That's right. That's right.
So you write as well in this book, in the epilogue. I mean, the whole book is brilliant, but then the epilogue it's like you can't even. So you write about reincarnation as well. So spirits that have come back, souls that have chosen to come back into this world.
Yeah.
And so I wonder, like, what your experience with that is. Is there, like, do we have the choice we can come back? Do our souls stay? That, a lot of what you were writing about is some things that, we've seen in documentaries about how people remember parts of maybe who they used to be, but it's not like if I die and come back, like I'm going to be Lauren again in some other form. I'm going to probably be different. So what are your thoughts on that, about like choosing to come back, or what do you think?
Well, I think that when you come back, you start from where you left off, not the same story, but what you have grown and learned and evolved to, and just how evolved you are, and even your joy, everything that you've learned in other lifetimes, you get to now reap the benefit. Mm-hmm. So I think it's a choice that most people make. I do. And I don't necessarily think you come back to Earth. I mean, there's so many places out in the universe you could go. So there might be another place, another planet somewhere that we don't even know about that you might go to.
I like that. I like both of those things, because I sort of feel like right now, I feel like now I'm ready to start my life. Like now I know enough, I'm ready to start my life. But I also don't want to live my life with, like it's all just been about learning and, but there's been a lot of learning.
That's right.
So I like that idea. If I'm going to choose to come back, that I don't have to redo all of those.
No, you don't have to redo. I know this is true. When I was a really tiny little girl, now, I believe she was real, but she might have been my make-believe friend. That's what I don't know for sure, because it was so long ago. But she was there constantly, a giant angel. She was 8 feet tall and walked alongside me wherever I went. And she would tell me all sorts of stories and things and truths. And she said, and there was a time when my mother was very ill, and she was in the terminal ward of the hospital, and we were told to prepare. My mother was going to die, and I was just overwhelmed. And I was talking to my angel friend, and I said, I don't know how the world can live without Mama. She's so important and she's so good. But I haven't been here very long. I should be able to just I could take her place, go back to where I came from, and Mama could keep on living. And she said, well, if you know that if you did go back, you'd be really happy. I said, yeah. And she, and I think that your mom's going to live. I believe your mom's going to live. She's not going to die, regardless of what they say. This angel was always talking to me about wisdoms and truth.
And did your mom live?
She lived. She lived until 1998.
Wow. Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah. And when she was dying, my brother, my sister, and I were there, and my mother started reaching up. And I said, Mama, who are you reaching for? Is it Daddy? No, it's my daddy. He is coming for me. That was very big.
Wow. So she saw
it was very, very, very.
Her own father came and reached down for her.
Yeah.
Wow. That's so interesting. When you and I have talked about Sebastian Junger and his book In My Time of Dying, and he writes about when he was almost dying, that his father came and said, "Come with me, I'll take care of you." And he said, "No, like I'm not going there. I have little kids. I'm not going with you." And then he totally lost consciousness, and then he lived through some miraculous surgery. But I often think that his father was saying, like, "I will take care of you. Not that I'm taking you to the other side, but that I'm going to take care of you and make sure that you come back."
Yeah. Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, parents continue to be parents. Yeah, I think so too. I think so too.
Has your mom ever shared with you, or have you ever asked her, like, what the, this is a crazy question, like what the architecture of the other side looks like?
Oh, no, I don't. Although I think I've seen it in my own vision, but wow. No, I think I will be asking that soon, though.
All we get is the New Yorker cartoons, and they're all in the clouds. That's all we ever see is everyone's in the clouds, and they all have wings. And, you know what I mean? But I don't know if that's really how it is.
Yeah, yeah. Well, my mother looks so hot as a 1940s girl. That's what she looks like to me. And I think that's so interesting. And I have spoken to a few mediums who said, well, that's what they usually come back at the age, you see them at the age when they were their strongest, their most powerful, sure of themselves. That's usually the age they come back. And that was certainly my mom.
Okay, I have to ask this question. Why is Donna Eden going to see a medium? You are the medium.
Oh, I know. I've taught several times at
Lilydale.
Lilydale. And they just, the whole town are mediums. And so they're in my classes and we sit around and talk and yeah, so
nice. So that's fun. That would be a fun class to go to.
Have you gone to Lilydale?
Dondi's talked to me about it so much because she just taught there maybe last year or the year before.
Yes, that's right.
I definitely want to go sometime. It sounds amazing. Okay, I'm going to ask you another. I'm just going to throw it. I'm going to ask you this question. You told me once, and I can't remember if you told me personally or if we were in a larger setting. I don't honestly remember that, but you told me that there was a time in sort of your middle life where you knew that you were at exactly the midpoint of your life and that it was too early to be the exact midpoint. Like you wanted to stretch it out. And that you said you were able to. Can you share that story with us and what that is all about?
Yes. Well, I remember the moment where I crossed that midline so well. And if it were true, then I would be dying next year, by the way, if that time. But yes. And it was so interesting. I knew exactly what the feeling was. I just crossed the midline. I was working on a client. And I went, I just crossed my midlife. It was just, I knew what it was. And sometime after that, I was teaching down in Costa Rica at a longevity center. And they were doing research. And what they had found is that people, if you ask somebody, well, how old do you think you're going to die? People usually say it real fast. Or they know kind of when that's going to happen for them. And so they took those people, I don't know where the people came from, but they had a huge center there. They took these people and helped them reprogram themselves to stretch it out, that they didn't have to do it at that time. This was the natural time that they would die, and it would be fine probably. But if they had more things to do on Earth and it felt really good and you like being here at your age, then you could stretch it out. And so I stretched mine out. I really stretched mine. Now, I think it's still stretching right now. So I had stretched it to about 6 more years at the time when I stretched it. Now I'm stretching out further. So I'm just going to keep stretching for a while. I'd like to go to 100.
Nice. And when you say you're stretching it, is that like part of your belief system, like that's deep in the chakras, or like where do you feel that, or is it like you're doing more exercise? I don't mean stretching in that way, but stretching and like getting the physical
No,
body stronger?
no, it's nothing like that. There's a real movement in my body, that my body is in a certain rhythm. It has its circadian rhythms, but also just the rhythm of moving forth or being still or anything like that. And I can feel the rhythm rolling forward. It rolls forward. And it's not like rolling out of me. It's just rolling me forward, and all my cells get in line and go forward too. And I keep getting healthier. I do get healthier and healthier.
I love that. I love that. I wonder if, you teach temporal tapping, and I wonder if like we could tap in that, because you've talked about tapping in, a lot of people are trying
Yes.
to, change their weight set point, right? Instead of like losing weight, or it's the set
Yes.
point. So changing where your body sets. So maybe we have like
Yes.
a set point for like
Set
for
point
when
for
we
death.
die,
Right.
like apoptosis, like each
Yeah.
cell makes, so maybe the whole cell together. And so maybe if we tapped on
Yes.
that, we could
I
extend.
love that.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to add that to my repertoire tonight
Oh,
and see what
well,
happens.
if you're gonna do it, I'm gonna do it. I like that. Um, so it doesn't seem then that I'm gonna ask this, but it doesn't seem like you do. Are you afraid of your death?
No, not at all. Not at all. It's kind of like when I went into my heart surgery, this was an adventure. And it wasn't that I was thinking I wouldn't die. I was just thinking I was on an adventure. I wonder where it's going to take me. I have a lot of curiosity, and I think curiosity helps. And I was just excited about the adventure. So, and there was no fear about death.
Do you think that's because you know that there is the afterlife?
Oh, probably has a lot to do with it. How in the world could anybody think that our spirits and our soul could die like their bodies? I mean, it's just not possible. It is not possible. So if you really have that awareness, it's going to go on.
Why do you say
There's
that?
just
Why
no
do
way
you say
it can't
it's
go
not
on.
possible that the soul dies
It
with
is
the body?
possible.
Why?
Let's see. Well, the body does age, gets older, but don't you feel on the inside that your spirit is getting better and better?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, I do.
And things are, yes. And you're not going to cut that wonder off right when your body goes. I mean, I'll tell you a great story. It doesn't tell you exactly everything about this, but I had a client friend many years ago in Ashland, Oregon, who was living at her son turned the garage into another room so she could live out her life there, and then she would die because she had, what was it? Some disease that starts with a P. I can't remember what it is now, but anyway, she'd gotten this disease and it was terminal. So, and she had it set up that me and another woman would sign her death certificate. You didn't need a doctor or anything in Oregon. So we would be there when she died. So first, but let me just tell you that she was so unhappy that she was still living. She did not want to be living. And she'd say, and she'd look at the paper every day and she's, look, hey, look out. And then she'd look at the obituary. No, look, they die. Is she so much better than me? Yeah, things left. Very funny. And I know it. And she was very upset that she didn't feel like she had done anything with her life. She didn't have a good life, and she really wanted to just start over. And so, it wasn't like she wanted to kill herself because she hated life. She wanted just to have a new life. And so she thought she'd get reincarnated and da-da. And so, one night, and so sometimes I was called there 3 times in the middle of the night. Get over, Phyllis is dying. So we'd go over there, and my other friend was there too, and she'd keep living. Well, this one night, we got there, and she was really dying. And there was a doctor who lived next door, and he came over just to see what state she was in. And so we waited long enough. He said, yeah, she's dead. She's gone. She's gone. So we were signing the death certificate when Phyllis went, oh, Phyllis came back. I couldn't even said, I just had to tell you all who met me at the tunnel. Well, I just said, because and she was so proud and excited. She wanted her children to hear very clearly that this person thought she was so valuable that he met her at the tunnel. And it was Elvis Presley.
Wow.
And so she was back, and she did not die. And she didn't die for about 7 or 8 more years. But she became a real expert in Elvis. And she had his music playing all day long. And she felt like she could hear him talk to her. And so sometimes people would come and sit on her bed, and she'd tell them what Elvis was saying to them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's incredible. I mean, so you've had a lot of experience with people with that's an NDE, a near-death experience?
Yes, I have. Oh, yes, I have. Yes, I have had a lot of that.
And do you hear similar reportage that, what I hear from those experiences, if I have to just put it in a nutshell, is you are loved, you are perfect. Like all of the people that just feel so horrible, they're just filled with love. And a lot of people come back with a new lease on life, like they're excited to live again, especially if they have more time after that. What's your?
She sure was. Yeah. Yes, she did not want to die now. She wanted to. Well, she wanted to learn everything about Elvis. She didn't even know him, so it was good. She and really got close to her kids, whom she wasn't close to, and yeah, it was really good.
I remember sitting with a friend of mine we'd had a really challenging relationship. He was, we were business partners at one time. He was much, 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 much older than I was. And I went and sat with him to kind of have our final, like, it's all okay, kind of thing. And he'd started off as one of my students. And he was maybe at this point a year or two from his death. And of course, I didn't know that at the time, but we were talking, and he was still talking about all of his anxiety and his struggles with being a good person and all of that. And he wished that he just was nicer to himself. And I said, when you get to the end, it's all pure love and bliss. So you could just bring that into you now and then just enjoy the next chunk of your life and not wait until you die to realize that you are loved and lovable.
Yeah. Did he take that in?
I think so. I'm friends with his daughter, and we were talking the other day, and she said, towards the end of Dad's life, he really was changing. He really was different. He was accepting. He was at peace. I'm not going to say that it was because of my conversation with him, but maybe there is something that happens towards the end where you not that you're towards the end. I'm not saying that at all, but just that it's taken you this long in your life to get to that peaceful place that you talked about at the very beginning.
Yeah. That's right. Peace is so great.
So great.
I love peace.
Oh, I love that. So, okay. So as we kind of start to wind things down, you're not afraid of your death. Are you afraid of anything?
I have to be honest. I guess it's not about myself, but I can get scared for my kids or my grandkids, for their lives. I want them to know that they are wonderful. I want them to know that they can do anything. And I want them to have so I can get scared for somebody else. And yeah, that's where I can get fear. And then I do this deep breath in and out and remember that this is their life. This is their journey. This is a journey that they're supposed to be on. And it's really helped.
Yeah, just allowing. And I would imagine, I don't know, we've talked, and I don't want to get into any kind of gnarly political conversation, but the world itself is also in a super challenging place.
Oh, it is. And I mean, oh, thank you. It's not fear, but there is a certain something that rings me out a little bit about politics and things right now, because it's shocking to me how much hate has come into it, and and blame and hate and blame and blah 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 blah. And and it's funny that there is one person that I really want who is in politics that I really want him to learn another way, and it's not so that the world will be better, but I want his life to be better, even though that it looks like he's got everything, but no, no, he doesn't. So yeah, love. It's a shock to me that love isn't everywhere. That's the shock. See, that's it. I can still have shock.
Yeah, I think I resonate with that too, and I wonder if you wonder, because what I wonder is how people. And I don't even just, people, we say that like them or whatever, but like it's always, it's a specific, like each of these people are specific people with their childhoods and their families and their pets and their paintings on their walls. I don't understand how people can be so cruel and so mean.
I don't either.
You don't have
I don't either. That's the hard, I wish I could tell you, it's the hardest thing in my life, I would say, is not understanding that, not understanding why all people don't have compassion and love and all of it. So I think that's why we keep going on, though, so that everybody will get to that point.
I love that. I love that. And I know your work has helped so many people. My thinking on why people are so cruel is trauma. I trace it all back to trauma. If you've been hurt, then you want to hurt, and hurt people. And if you don't have the tools or the awareness or some nudge to go and do your own self-healing, and you accrue any kind of power, financial, political, or otherwise, entertainment, people, just all of it, then you'll just take that cruelty and it will just amplify, because you don't have love in your own heart for your own self and your own soul.
Yeah. And there's other reasons too. It's like, it's really interesting. My grandson, he's 8 years old, and he was born to a meth mom, and my daughter adopted him. And she's the best mother I ever saw in my life. She's so good. And it takes a lot to be his mom. And it turns out, I mean, he must have been so unhappy inside of her as she went through everything. I'm leading up to, I know. So he's getting some great therapy now. And I really bless the woman who is his therapist. And my daughter, Tanya, and her mate, they're really following the protocol to get him over, because you can't just have regular therapy. He's a part of his brain actually didn't connect up, so it has better communication. All of his brain works. He's actually brilliant, and yet some parts didn't connect up. So he's. One of the things that does connect up that is so strong in him is mirror neurons. Do you know that term? Yes. So it's wonderful when he sees somebody who's loving and happy to see him, he takes it on. But if somebody's being a monster or hating, he takes that on. He has the strongest mirror neurons of anybody I've ever seen in my life. And so anyway, so he's learning all, and so he is really learning about love in this way, and he's now starting to self-reflect about it. about, because for a long period of time, he said, I hate babies. And because he didn't want to be a baby, part of it, he didn't want to be a baby. But now I heard him say yesterday, I mean, he really looks at himself as this 8-year-old and said, I wonder why I hated babies. They're so cute. And it was like, and he doesn't feel that way anymore. So he takes on these mirror neurons, which are wonderful. So one of the things I've seen in my life is if you treat somebody incredibly kind who has been really mean to you, it might take a while, because sometimes those mirror neurons don't like that. But I've seen people shift in such remarkable ways, And I know I've got a really strong belief in this world. And since in my piece, I've come to realize that everybody's got their own journey, that I'm not scared of people's journeys anymore. It's like, yeah, I've always wanted to rescue everybody. And now I feel so excited for them to be on their journey.
I love that. So my last...
Oh, Lauren, you are so dear.
Oh, thank you.
You are. You are so dear. I am so happy to be here with you. And nobody, all these, I have done every now and then something like this over on the radio or a podcast since 1977. Do you know, that's a long time ago. I've never had anyone ask me these questions.
Oh, oh, that's well, I'm honored to be here with you and asking you. And I've got one last kind of question or thought.
Okay.
I wanted to talk about your legacy. You've mentioned your children and your grandchildren. You have 2 daughters and 2 beautiful grandsons. You created this incredible school, the Eden method, that I've been through, and thousands of teachers and practitioners all over the world have taken your work and just helped so many people heal. You've got many, many award-winning books, bestsellers, like you've done so much. And so all of that could very well and easily, we could just say that's your legacy and leave it at that. But I wonder if that's what you feel, if you feel in your soul, like what is it that you want to leave behind, even though you'll still be here when you leave your body, but what is it that you would like most to leave as your legacy?
Well, wow. One of them, and I don't know that I could call it my legacy, but I sure want it to go on, is I want people the world over to know how to heal themselves, to know how to heal their hearts, their souls, their spirits, as well as their physical body. It's like, it is so empowering to be able to do that for yourself. And I think everybody's lives get better when they are empowered in that way. And yes, I don't think it is just healing of the physical body. It's healing whatever you need to heal. And I want the whole world to be able to heal themselves and heal their children and their grandchildren. And I want, I don't care about getting credit, by the way. I don't care about that. But legacy. That's a tough one, because I guess everybody who I've loved will continue to feel loved by me. How's that?
That's just about perfect. That's just about perfect. I love that. Thank you so much for being here with me. It's just such a joy to see you and to be in your joy field.
Oh, Lauren, I feel the same way about you. I adore you. I love you. I'm so glad you've got a mate, and I'm so glad you've got people who help you in your world. And I'm so glad you do yoga. I'm so glad you do this podcast. I'm so glad for all of it. And I just want your life to continue to get better and better and better and better. And one day, I just had a hit, Lauren. I just had a hit. I think your life is going to expand further and further and further.
Well, from your lips to all of the angels that are surrounding both of us and all of us in the world at all
Yes.
times, may that be true.
Yes.
I hope so too.
May that be true. May that be true.
It's just so wonderful to just bask in the joy of you. And I'm going to close with Julia Louis-Dreyfus as well. To be with somebody who is so much wiser than me, it is an honor and a treat. So thank you, Donna.
Oh, thank you, Lauren. Of course, I think you are so wise, but thank you. I'll take that in. Bless your heart. Okay. Bye-bye.
Alrighty, energy fans, that's a wrap on another positively charged episode of Energy Works. Lauren, this is the part where we get to use our energy puns.
It's been electrifying, hasn't it, Flame? We hope you've enjoyed it as much as we have.
If you're feeling amped up and you want to keep your energy flowing, be sure to hit that subscribe button on your favorite podcast platform.
And we'd love to hear from you, so please take a moment to leave us a review. Your feedback helps us continue to deliver content that resonates, so light up our inbox.
And spark a conversation with your friends to tell them about us. And we'll see you next time on Energy Works.